Morning folks, in a new place today, small wood in between Belmont and Horwich. I've just come across this. We're on obviously one of the trails here, but this has been stuck in the ground. Let me just see if I can get it out. And that was put in with some force, so I'll leave it in. It's interesting, all the branches snapped off, and then this snap there, one layer down here, and then we have a brook there to the right hand side, so whether that signifies water, you'd have to be an incredibly bit of a dense wood waste to not realise that the stream's there. You can hear it, but nevertheless interesting that should be stuck here for no good reason. Anyway, onward. So I just come across this, just saw this sticking up from, there's a trail, goes down those steps there and across the bridge there. And I just looked up the hill and noticed this sticking out of the ground. Pointing up now. It's definitely a Y stuck in the ground. What does it mean? If I try and move that, it is definitely stuck at that angle. It has been, seems to have been forced in at that angle. Like you can see, it's been forced in the ground at like a 40-degree angle, which rules out really falling from the tree above me. It wouldn't stick in at 45 degrees. That's been, unless a bigger branch has fallen in, but there's no sign of any bigger branches. But just thought that from down there, that was there pointing up like that. But interesting, and this is a really quiet wood. It's the first time I've come here. It's not very well known. It's not that big, but you can't rule these little places out, particularly here in the middle of the moorland and right next to a golf course and a little stream running through it. Anyway, let's move on, see what else we can find. So slightly off the trail in this softer stuff is that. For comparison, I mean, I've got small hands really, but that, just trying to get a comparison of not damage. I think what's interesting me is the way that it what would be the arch bends round and then the toes come that way. Whereas a normal shoe you would expect to go straight up and not with these toes coming on this angle here. Again, inconclusive, probably been there a long time. Something to look for. So out of that woodland, which is not, again, like I said, it's not that far. It's barely a mile. Probably about 3/4 of a mile. across here, the moors. At the top you've got Winter Hill there. And this goes over the top. Or the moorland, which you often hear sightings on the moorland of wood wars. Some ufology lore as well up here at Winter Hill. Anyway, I'm going to make my way back into the woods on the other side, see what we see. So, just come across these on the opposite side. They're stuck in. Definitely stuck in. At again a 45-degree angle, which is the same. What does it mean? And I don't know. Is that an axe? That's it. So many sticks on the ground, but these two stick out a mile, literally. Stuck in at 45 degrees, and either forming an X or something else. And they're smaller, but that they have been stuck there. That's not a natural thing. And what's interesting about this spot I'm in now, it's not a footpath at all. It's just sort of like, that's a field in that direction with a fence going across, as you can see. There's no footpath. I've crossed from down there, across the little stream, and I've come from that side, down the bank, steep bank, up the steep bank, and just for the nosy really, I've come across that. But again, look, as I said earlier, I don't believe that that's natural. Two snapped off branches stuck in at 45 degrees and wedged into that shape. Is it a wild camper thing? Who knows? Maybe anyone who wild camps can, or bushcrafts, can suggest what that might mean. But it's not really. I mean, it's quiet. It's a remote place. But being realistic, often we rule out kids that come and play. I mean, I know when I was a kid, I would come and play in the woods, just like these. You know, kids often you find quite mysterious looking woodland, don't you, to play in as kids? And is that something that kids would do? I don't know. I find it unlikely, but who knows? Anyway, come on, let's see what else we can see. Here we go again. Bent round there. And again, there's that argument for, it's always going to be that argument against natural or something else. I think a lot of, we don't really necessarily know a lot about trees, to be quite blunt about it. We do a lot of guessing about what things might be, and I've said this before, we could really do with someone from the Forestry Commission who's trained and that deals with this sort of thing. But the fact that it's the only tree in a forest of probably 10,000s of trees you know, it does stand out. But does it stand out because it's the only tree to have been in a particular location where that's caused it to do that? I don't know. Who knows? Come on, onward. No, what's this? And then we've got this. So they've been placed there clearly, because they're spread out around the tree, and it looks like some deadfall in the centre of the tree. But you see this a lot on some of the Sasquatch things from America, where they seem to compact. I mean, that's like natural deadfall that's compacted itself in that little gap there. But regardless of that, those sticks have definitely been placed there around the tree. You can see they've been placed. And it's that age-old question: bushcraft, kids, and then the old why. I don't know. Who knows? So just come up from all that, and then noticed those lying in there. Just could be deadfall. Looks like deadfall to me. Nothing fantastical about that. And then notice this. That's interesting to me. Just note the way that the snap there. And there, and then placed on top of that. And this is really the first something like this I mean, because you see deadfall on the floor all the time, but this is the first one I've come across that really stood out to me. And it's just right off this path. But I've come across a few signs like that just right off the path. Public footpath, should I say.